Can we just go through the six states and then maybe use a couple examples of how to connect with those different states accordingly?
Yeah, of course. So I just went through the four primary states. So, and then I can talk about how to connect with them because I think that's really important. So we actually have three states of regulation. So we're going to qualify those as like, those are the good things we're wanting more of. We have that what's called our ventral vagal complex, part of the parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve for anyone who likes the science behind all of this. Vagus nerve, vagus means wander. It's the biggest nerve in our body. And then we have two other fun states and one of regulation, and one's called play, and that's a blended state. So we've got that ventral energy, and think of it like we've got a splash or maybe like a half a cup of sympathetic. Sympathetic is where we're in that mobilized place. But when we have a small amount of that sympathetic energy with predominantly regulation, it's what allows us to be regulated, so feel good, but have bursts of energy and be silly and be playful and like have a game night and be fun and go to karaoke and do all the silly things and play with your children and all of that. Now, what happens a lot is if we're in play and we add too much sympathetic, we just go into sympathetic. So we see that with kids. They're playing and having so much fun, and then somebody shoves somebody else, and now there's a fight. And we're like, what happened? You were having so much fun, and now you're not. Because they went from play in their nervous system to sympathetic. And we adults don't get ruled out in that. You might be a competitive player of games, and all of a sudden you're playing a game, having fun, and then you're like, wait a minute, you cheated and blah, 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 and now I'm having an argument. So that's play. We have this other beautiful blended state of regulation called stillness. And stillness is, I am so here and present, but I'm slowing down. So it's predominantly that ventral, but I've got a splash of that dorsal experience. That slows me down a little. So imagine I'm watching a loved one sleep. And, I don't want to be loud. I just want to watch their beautiful face and take them in. Or I'm in prayer or meditation, or I'm watching the sunrise or a bird land outside my window. It would be really weird if my child was sleeping and I said, you're such a cute sleeper. Like that would be a weird response. It would wake them up and be startling. So a stillness allows us to have that slowing down. So that those three states of regulation, the reason we have that variety is so that we can navigate most things in life from a regulated place. And that's what we're looking to build more of in our lives. Now, we went through these other three states we have the sympathetic, which is like a cheetah running, go, 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 go. Or I'm rather trying to run away from the cheetah. Then we have, if the cheetah is about to bite me, I can't get away. We shut down, apathy, hopelessness, depression. And then we have this blended state of freeze, like a deer in headlights, have to, can't, have to, can't, have to, can't. All of them are brilliant, brilliant survival responses. And I just want to name this, that it's really common that we go from sympathetic to dorsal. So a simple example is I'm having an argument with my partner. And I'm in sympathetic, and they're in sympathetic, and I just need them to hear me. And the thing is, when you try to fight while in dysregulation, you can't resolve the problem. So I can't even hear you because my thinking brain's turned off. So we're just talking at each other. And then eventually someone's system says, okay, I'm tapped out. And I go from caring so much to feeling like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You win, doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if this is over, even though that's not true. I really love you, but I don't care in this moment because I've gone to shut down. So the way that we regulate out of those three different places, I just want to share with people, is very, very different. And want to just give maybe a little bit of guidance on that. So when we're in this sympathetic mobilized place, what our nervous system needs to do is discharge or get rid of that energy. So I've got all this exploding energy in my body. And the way that I often describe it is like imagining we have a jug of water and a big jug, and it's filled with all of this activation or dysregulation, because dysregulation is actually just energy in our bodies. And what I need to do is get rid of some of that energy, get it out of my body. And so I wouldn't dump this whole thing over. It would be too overwhelming. It's like if I had a spigot on the bottle and I can take a little bit and get it out of my system. And that's what we're doing when we're regulating, especially out of sympathetic. So I think of each state, like this is a state, sympathetic, as a country. So it's not just a one-stop shop. Imagine it's as big as Brazil. So if I said to somebody, if I went to Brazil and someone said, "Where'd you go?" And I said, "Brazil." They'd be like, "Yeah, but where? It's really big." "No, I just went to Brazil. So great." That would be really weird, right? Because it's a big place. There's so many different places to be. Each state in our nervous system is like that. So uh, I do a number system, like 1 least extreme experience, 10 most extreme. So if I'm in sympathetic at a 1 to a 5, let's say, in intensity, that means like I've got uncomfortability in my body. There's an urgency. It feels sort of manageable, but I've got some nervousness and maybe some, anxiety, but not overwhelming. So when I'm there, I need to mobilize or move my body, but not as intensely as if I was at a 5 to a 10. So what I mean by that is if I feel a little nervous or a little overwhelmed, me sitting and meditating could be really helpful because my system essentially thinks there's a lion chasing me, but the lion's a half a mile away. So I have time to settle and reset myself. So doing something like a sitting meditation could be helpful, qigong, some gentle yoga, and so on and so forth. If I am at a 5 to a 10 in intensity, heightened anxiety, feeling like I can't sit still, so much tension, that's like a lion being 20 feet away from me. And imagine how weird it would be if I said, "Hey, on Instagram, I heard that it's really good to do, I don't know, yoga and meditation. Do that with me." No one would do that. They'd be like, no, I need to run away, which is why we do not want to be sitting still when we are in a heightened sympathetic place. So if you try to meditate when you're having heightened anxiety, you're going to get more anxious. Or you try to do yoga when you're heightened anxiety, you're going to get more anxiety. So instead, we want to move our bodies. So things like going for a walking meditation is great. Swaying, humming, tapping, letting your body shake to move that energy out. Putting music on, letting your body move in a particular way. Using our breath is so helpful. And this leads me to a second important thing here. When you're in sympathetic, the best thing you can do is shorter inhalations, longer exhalations. That actually helps to get rid of a lot of that extra energy we're experiencing. So very simple breathing cycle is inhale for 4 through your nose, hold your breath for 7 seconds, exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, like you're blowing out a candle. So really making the air go out slow. That helps to relieve some of that energy. The very worst thing you can do when you're in sympathetic is hyperventilating breath work. And breath work has a place. But if you're in a heightened sympathetic and you go to do a breathwork class, you are literally telling your nervous system, the line is closer, the line is closer, the line is closer. So this is what happens is a lot of people go and they get a cathartic release. Why am I crying? Because my system thinks I'm literally going to die. And then after, people can feel a little fuzzy, which is different than regulated. That means I've gone into this little bit of a dorsally place, which we actually don't want. That creates more dysregulation. So when you're in sympathetic, I do not recommend doing more rapid breath work. It's going to create more dysregulation. Now, when you're in dorsal, it's really different. In dorsal, we want to bring energy in because I'm shut down. So the thing I don't want to do is that shorter inhalation, longer inhalation breath I just named. Absolutely not. If you do that in dorsal, you're going to get more shut down. Instead, we want to bring small amounts of energy in. So this would be a time to do short amounts of a rapid breath, like inhale quickly, exhale quickly, just a couple times. That brings energy in our bodies. And we want to do things that support us to remember, I'm not in my body, to come back in. So that might be use all your senses that you have access to, touch something, smell something, see something, taste something, so that I can come back into my body. And then other things like I named, tapping, vibrational sounds, gentle movement, are all going to be really, 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 really helpful. The last thing about freeze that I just want to say is freeze is like being in a finger trap, like that you used to have as a kid. The natural inclination when you're in freeze, you're stuck, is to try to break my way out of it. But the rule of freeze is if it's equal parts sympathetic and dorsal. So if I bring in more energy, like I'm trapped, I just need to do the thing. If I bring in more of that sympathetic energy, more of the dorsal stuckness is going to come in. So just like a finger trap, if you pull your fingers, you get more stuck. So instead, when we're here, we want to bring in small amounts of mobilizing energy small amounts of movement or vibration or sound, similarly to like we would when we're in dorsal. Oh, one last thing. And when we're in dorsal, the very worst thing you could do would be a closed eye meditation. So as a dissociator for most of my life, so dissociation means I'm fully leaving my body to not be in this present moment. That's too much. When I used to meditate in my early years of meditation while being in dorsal, I would close my eyes. I thought it was fun. I would say, like, I don't know if 2 minutes went by or 7 years. I just sort of disappeared. That means that is actually increasing my system's ability to dissociate. So when I'm leaving my body when I'm dissociating. So if I close my eyes, it's going to actually support me to leave my body further, like I'm floating into outer space. So I do not recommend, if you're feeling hopeless, shut down, apathetic, that you do that. Instead, it'd be great to open your eyes and maybe stand outside and go for a really slow walk. Move your body, a meditative walk that way. But what I hope is people are seeing it's very nuanced. There is no one size fits all, and it's so important that we understand that.